We can do it. Do we don't do cold opens for this anymore? I don't even think. Do we?
No, we don't.
Okay.
Unless you wanted to talk about this rocket.
I don't want to talk about Elon Musk's rocket.
Okay.
But I'm looking at the camera,
We don't have to.
which tells me I probably am. So, Elon Musk, CEO, I think, of SpaceX. I believe former CEO of Tesla. He's still on the board and a major investor, but the SEC made him step down as the head of the company because of the securities fraud. Anyway, they've been building this rocket thing. It's just a test vehicle, but they've been building it like outside for some reason.
That doesn't make sense.
Like it's Star Trek 2009. And by the way, what's the guy's name who does Star Trek now? Alex Kurtzman? Robert Kurtzman.
Kurtzman?
Something Kurtzman. If your ideas are similar to his in any way, stop doing it immediately. So, they've been building this weird tinfoil-looking rocket. And,
looks like it's from the 1950s.
Sure, I think that was his idea. I think
like
he was
Flash
like,
Gordon.
He's like, we gotta pump the stock, make it look all shiny, and do it out in the open so people can take pictures. Anyway, it's all dented and weird and stuff. And people have been like, oh, this isn't gonna fly, this is gonna fly, whatever. I haven't really, gotten in the middle of it because I'm not a rocket scientist. I don't know if it's gonna fly or not. But, today, it tipped over because of the wind, which, in fairness, there's no wind in space. There's a lot on the way there, though. And it fell the fuck over, and the cone head got damaged, and it's okay. Maybe it's just a tribute to Tesla's stock this past week. Alright, I'm done. We'll get to the Bible now. Theme song.
La 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 la.
Here we go.
It's the Bible reloaded, the logic explosion, like Jesus and Moses, but it's Hugo and Jake. The Bible is jaded, and most of it taken, so get educated with Hugo and Jake. Pull up a pew and stop what you're doing, it's Bible reloaded time. They call it debated, the fears will hate it, like talking to taken, but it's Hugo and Jake. So on with the show then, it's not candy coated, it's the Bible reloaded with Hugo and Jake. With Hugo and Jake.
Hello, everyone! I'm Hugo. I promise that's the last. No more Musk. No more Musk this episode.
I feel like a rocket that fell over.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Today we're continuing our study of the New Testament. Today last time we finished the Beatitudes, and today we're continuing with the Sermon on the Mount, the longest dialogue Jesus has in the Bible. And that is when he went up on the mountain and was like, more like a hill it's often depicted as than a full mountain. But, he goes up on the mount, as it were, and he preaches to all these people. So today we're going to get through, not all of it, because it is very long, relative to what we normally read as far as sections are concerned.
Sure.
So it'll probably take several episodes, if not more, and then somewhere in between we'll break it up with a random Jesus miracle episode.
What's more than several? Many.
So today we're continuing.
Who's that?
In Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. Salt and light.
You are the salt of the earth. This is Jesus speaking. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again?
Salt is always salty.
Salt is 100% salty all the time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's just a rock you licking
In fair-
that had some salt on it.
I looked this up earlier. Earlier version said if salt loses its savor, is what it originally said.
What's that? Like if you just don't like salt anymore? If you're just like, wow, that's a lot of salt.
I don't know.
Sure, over that. Could go for some sweet. And then sea salt caramel was invented. Thanks, Jesus.
I'd like to think whoever wrote the NIV is like, these dumb motherfuckers don't know what savor means. Just say salty.
It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. This salt isn't salty anymore! Then he throws it on the ground, and then Jesus stomps on it, has a tantrum, and walks away.
Pocket salt, shasha.
Shasha?
So,
That would hurt more than pocket sand.
yeah, what Jesus is next level. What he's talking about there is he's comparing the people of Israel. You are the salt of the earth.
Yeah.
You are the down-to-earth people. You are the people that God has blessed. Don't lose that quality, because if you do, it cannot be regained. Like salt losing its saltiness.
If you, which is not a thing, but if you lose it, you'll be trampled underfoot?
You'll be...
Trampled underfoot.
Yeah.
You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, and they may see your good deeds and glorify your fathers in heaven. If you put a light under a bowl, why is the light on? Turn the light off. It's under a bowl. You
This
don't get
whole
to use it.
This city metaphor and this light metaphor are going to sound very familiar to you for two reasons. Firstly, put it under a bushel basket. No, I'm gonna let it shine. There's like a little kid's hymn about
Didn't
this.
know that.
Yeah,
I don't partake.
yeah, I did as a kid. Against my will.
Aw.
That happened. And also, this is very akin to Reagan's shining city on a hill example of, like, that's what I want America to be. Religious illusions.
Religious.
Reagan was a fan of those. And also being an asshole.
Reagan, not great.
No.
Not great.
Remember that time him and Oliver North committed treason?
No, I wasn't alive. I mean, I know of it, but I don't remember it.
I'm 87 years old. Oh, by the way, the whole, you are the light of the world, you have to be a light, you have to show everyone what you are doing and how you are being. Jesus says that in the Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 5. Then, in Matthew chapter 6, still just at a later period in the Sermon on the Mount, he says, "Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven."
So don't light your shiny light.
So those are contradictory statements. Do you want me to let it shine, Jesus, or do you want me to keep it hidden so as not to forfeit my reward in heaven? I said forfeit weird there.
Forfeit?
Yeah, you know what I meant, though. What's up with
It's like
that,
when
Jesus?
you say cocaine.
Cocaine. That I do intentionally, though,
Well, I know,
because I think...
but I'm just saying it's
I
like
think
that.
cocaine it doesn't sound
Sounds-
fancy enough.
No, cocaine.
Cocaine. Giles, bring me my cocaine and tiny spoon,
Do
please.
you think it's a cocaine though, and like in that it's a hollow cane filled with cocaine?
Ooh.
And then he like takes like a pixie stick, but for fancy people that want to get fucked up.
See, I was gonna say like a Pez dispenser, so it has a little spring at the bottom, so it pushes more up, but only at like one at a
like
time.
kind of like a
Cha-ching. Cha-ching.
yeah. So it has like a set amount, like it slides. Ooh, there's one serving of cocaine.
One serving.
It comes out on a little mound.
Yeah.
And his car go, yes, good.
Mound also sounds fancier than
Nice.
bump.
Do you
by
think?
the
Do you
way.
think instead of this they have like a finger condom, and then it like
No, they just have Giles come and do it for him. Giles!
so Giles is white.
Scrub my gums!
Okay, moving on to more Jesus. The fulfillment of the law. We've brought this up a couple times.
Yeah.
Do you think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets? The Old Testament, you mean? I do mean, says Jesus. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. Need we stop here? Need we explain that, or do you understand, audience?
I'm gonna explain it just in case anyway, because I want no chance that anyone doesn't
So,
get it.
the Old Testament, okay, you say to me, oh, Christian Jake, this is a bizarro world, Christian Jake, the Judges 19, where they chop up
Oh yeah,
the girl...
They chop up kids.
Oh, that's the Old Testament!
Oh, what about Lot? Why did
No,
his
that's
daughters...
the Old Testament!
Oh, what about all the Leviticus
That's
laws?
the Old Testament!
Jesus says right here, all the Old Testament still counts.
Oh. Well, that's just the New Testament.
And just Jesus. It's not like Paul said it.
For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen, will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. I repeat, not the smallest letter, nor the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. The Old Testament's still in play.
He could not be more clear than that.
Literally as clear as it can possibly be. Often you hear Christians go, well, that's just the Ten Commandments. Need we go back? Opened up right up to it. I didn't. Move magic. So here's the Ten Commandments right here. Here's the rest of the commandments. Here's some more commandments. Let's see how many pages we have of commandments. Oh, keep going. 3 more pages. All of 30. Everything from Exodus 20 to 30. All of that. That's all commandments. There's hundreds of commandments. Hundreds of them, including the ones that say don't be gay. You know, the things Christians use to say don't be gay. Those aren't in the 10 Commandments. Those are later. You know, the ones where they're like, don't blast, you know, how about Sabbath laws, for instance? Like, you know, that happened. You still have to do the Sabbath laws, which, of course, Jesus still honors all the Sabbath laws. He isn't here to change a jot or tittle.
Killing your disrespectful, lazy kids, that's a thing.
Supposed to kill them. You can't have false idols. You can't fuck animals. I mean,
I'm okay with that one.
Yeah, I'm good with that too. You have to make a tabernacle and shit. You have to have the art. Like, these are things that are like, those are the law. It's a capitalized law. There's the 10 Commandments and then all the other commandments. Those are the law.
And before you say but, not a jot or tittle!
Not a jot or tittle. Or in the NIV, I suppose, it's not the smallest letter nor the least stroke of a pen.
Yeah.
Will under any means be changed. Therefore, anyone who sets aside one of the least of these commands and teaches others accordingly will be called least in the kingdom of heaven, but whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called in the great kingdom of heaven. Not only that, even the least of the commands, the non-10 Commandments specifically, you have to follow them, and if not, you will not be in heaven. Christians, listen to me!
He's saying specifically, if you use some commandments and don't teach others, there will be a special place in hell for you, is what Jesus is saying. Read the book!
Oh, I thought you were just reading.
No.
Oh, it started that way,
It did.
Okay.
It very much did.
For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven. So unless you are one of the people charged with teaching, right, one of the disciples or one of the people that go on, so Reformation, I understand why they didn't want a Reformation, because Jesus was very against it.
I don't know if I'd say that. I would argue in this case...
He's for Reformation, not of Christianity, that was what I mean.
Okay.
Reformation of Christianity, not Reformation of Judaism, which is, this is clearly that.
Yeah.
Next section is called Murder.
That's what I think italics probably sounds like, by the way.
Murder.
Yeah, that's italics, but in verbal form.
You have heard that it was said to the people long ago, you shall not murder. And that is in the 10 Commandments. And anyone who murders will be subject to judgment. But I tell you that anyone who is angry with a brother or sister will be subject to judgment. You can't even be angry around this guy.
Yep.
You can't even exhibit anger. That's a thought crime.
Yeah, Jesus, we're going to get into this too in the next part when he gets into adultery.
Yeah, you can't even look at a lady.
Big on thought crime.
Not a great dude. Not a great one. Again, anyone who says to a brother or sister, Raka, which apparently, R-A-C-A, which means an Aramaic term of contempt. So, like, dickhead or something.
Sure.
Douche. Anyone who uses that term is answerable to the court, and anyone who says, you fool, will be in danger of the fire of hell. Is this the first time we get hellfire from Jesus' mouth?
I believe it's the first time that we've at least addressed it, yeah.
Right, yeah. Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First, go and be reconciled to them. Then come and offer your gift. So if you're angry at your brother or sister, and that doesn't mean like your actual siblings.
Sure.
It just means your cohabitants. Don't leave your offering at the altar. Wait, you're saying Jesus leaves offering at the altar? He still does, yes. Don't leave that while you're angry, or it will be like a flawed thing.
It's tainted.
Yeah.
It's the don't go to bed angry of you and God's relationship.
Yeah. Of course, the argument against the until everything's fulfilled is until Jesus dies and resurrects, but that's not what he says. Until everything is accomplished is the whole thing, including the rapture and all that stuff. Settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still together on the way, or your adversary may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison. Truly, I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny. So, settle it out of court?
Yeah.
I guess, is his thing. That's fine. That's okay. No lawyer, I suppose. You know, I watched a little break. You know, I watched Roseanne came back for, like, part of a season, and then she got fired, right?
Yeah, and The Connors is on
I
now.
watched The Connors.
Is it good?
Season 1. Very good.
Okay.
It is, I watched, like, the first 2 episodes, sort of Roseanne when it came back.
Sure.
Unwatchable.
Okay.
Hated it. Couldn't stand it. I love the original series of Roseanne.
But Roseanne's gone.
The
yeah.
Connors, it's like it's back. It's so good. You should. Do you like Roseanne?
I liked it as a kid. I haven't watched it as an adult.
You should
really.
watch all of it. First of all, it's very, very good.
Okay.
In general, they do. It's kind of the Boy Meets World for adults, where it kind of like they do a really good job of like bringing up social issues in a way. Like this one, because Roseanne ended up being conservative. And then, like, they have a real gay son. Darlene specifically has a real gay son who is, in real life, a lesbian, and in the show, she is straight. But she has a gay son who is just wonderful, and they treat it like Dan even, the kid is, like, 11 years old, and he's like, I want to sit next to someone at the bus, and Dan's like, are they boys? And he goes, yeah. And he's like, okay, why do you want to sit next to one of them? And then they do a pro and con list. Because Roseanne dies from a drug overdose. She like had surgery and she takes too much opioids and she ends up dying in her sleep. And they treat it well. They treat it like we're going to deal with like the opioid problem.
Okay.
And Dan gets really mad and it's really nice. And that has a through line throughout because not Darlene, but Becky has a drinking problem because Mark, the guy who played Mark, died in real life of a drug overdose, and he dies. I don't know if they mentioned how he dies in the series, but he's dead. So she's a widow,
okay,
and she started drinking after he died. So now she has a drinking problem. And,
okay,
but it's like it's so good. Like they deal with it, and like it rings true of like we've dealt with alcoholism. Well, I don't know if either of us has dealt with opiate abuse. Maybe you with not with yourself, but with the one. I don't know if it's opiates, but yeah, okay. And I mean, it's pretty much instead of Roseanne, it's Darlene because she Gilbert TV. She's Sarah Gilbert in real life. That's producing the show.
Okay.
And so she's got major writing credits. Like she even did an episode about cultural appropriation, okay. And it was great because it was like the gay son. I forget his name, so I'm calling him Gay Son. I'm sorry. He wanted to do a Fortnite costume, and he dresses up in a Fortnite costume. But then there was an email sent out, and that Darlene missed or something, and it was nothing violent can be at the Halloween thing. So, right, I know. He had a gun or a sword or something, but and so he was like really upset, and it was a dope ass costume that he made himself, but it was amazing. And so he changes out of that and then makes a new costume and goes through, and then he just the reveal on the sitcom. It's Frida Kahlo. Frida Kahlo. the artist from Mexico.
Okay.
Has the unibrow and kind of a
yeah.
mustache, and Selma Hayek played her in a movie.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And then gets to the place, and Darlene is an open atheist super liberal in that show.
Sure.
And goes up and is like, to the principal, like, this is not cultural appropriation. Has a really good conversation about that, because it's not just libtard stuff. It's like, okay, I understand why they're not violence, but this is a celebration. Had like the pineapples and the parrots and
Sure.
It was great. I love that show. Go watch that show. I watched the whole season on Hulu. I was very surprised it was good. Why did I bring that up?
I don't remember.
Court. They go to court in that at some point. Dan, he talks to a lawyer at one point. That's why. I forgot.
Okay.
Yeah, they try to get a vending machine falls on Dan. Because he's helping DJ! DJ is a vending machine technician!
Okay.
You can talk about Elon for a month?
Yeah, there's a double standard. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. No, that makes sense. Adultery! You have heard that it was said, you shall not commit adultery. But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully has already committed adultery with her in his heart. What about a dude? What if I look at Ryan Reynolds and I go, in a pinch? Hell for me? I see your eye twitching.
It's just, Ryan Reynolds has options. You are not one of them. I just want to put that out there.
I see no problem with this. It's not about whether there's an option. It's about whether I'm looking with lust in my heart.
Yeah, yes, you're going to burn in hell.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
If your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. Yikes. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. You know, Bill the Butcher in Gangs of New York, played by Daniel Day-Lewis?
No.
You've never seen that movie?
No.
Campy. Great. Bad. Great. Good. Terrible.
That's a lot of words.
It's
mean
so
different things.
Cameron Diaz sucks Leonardo DiCaprio's nipple after she reveals she's gotten an abortion. I know! No! It's great!
Wait, why?
Watch that movie. It's fucking hilarious. So, also, Daniel Day-Lewis is the only good part of that movie. Anyway, he, at one point, reveals to the audience that he got scared once. And he looked away from someone that was, like, yelling at him. And so he gouged his own left eye out, the one that was scared.
Okay.
That's this. Don't do that.
No, don't do that.
Don't gouge your eyes out, guys. You may regret it after. Binocular vision, underrated. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. Daniel Day-Lewis has cut his own hand. I'm kidding. It is better for you to lose one part. Okay, we get it.
I find it hilarious that Christian Republicans have backtracked on this, almost. Jesus is like, that woman caused you to sin, cut your fucking hand off! Republicans are like, but what was she wearing, though?
Yeah.
Just want to point that out.
Oh, man. Was she asking for it? How drunk were you? Do you like beer?
Cut your hand off, says Jesus. Do it! Anyway.
Brett Kavanaugh would have just no hands.
Yeah. Good.
Divorce! It has been said, anyone who divorces his wife must give her a certificate of divorce. But I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for sexual immorality, makes her the victim of adultery, and anyone who marries a divorced woman commits adultery. I guess fuck you, divorced women.
It doesn't say, I like that it doesn't say anything about men either.
No,
but
of course it doesn't.
Men aren't committing adultery because they're men.
Jesus is not very, he's progressive for this area, for a super devout right-wing religious person, but like only a little bit, and he's advocating self-harm. And people being alone after getting a divorce.
I like, in my head, the way that they thought about this, because the internal logic of this makes sense if you think men are the ones who give the sex.
Yeah.
Women are the ones who get sexed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a
fucking
financial transaction, like an incel.
ugh.
Oaths! Again, you have heard that it was said to the people long ago, do not break your oath, but fulfill to the Lord the vows you have made. But I tell you, do not swear an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is God's throne, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not swear by your head, for you cannot make even one hair white or black. All you need to say is simply yes or no. Anything beyond this comes from the evil one. The evil one or evil. Don't make
oaths you can't live up to. Don't make oaths that on things that are not yours. Is essentially what it is saying.
Oh, good. Eye for an eye! You have heard that it was said, eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth, but I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. What if they stop? What if that was the distance of travel?
I don't know. It's a metaphor.
Just keep going?
It's a metaphor, man.
All right. Give to one who asks you, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. Most of this is not good. Most of this is allow yourself to be abused. I do like the lack of aggression.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really play with the other shit. But, I'd rather this said, don't escalate.
I would agree. It's an interesting advocation for passivity, because on the one hand, I agree. You shouldn't just immediately want to retaliate when someone hurts you, but on the same time, this was written for an audience of people who were being oppressed by a fairly large,
Murder government.
So maybe saying...
Like, that's more of a survival tactic. I
Sure.
think. Yeah.
And if that is what it is, that's fine, but then be honest about it. Don't say, be passive so you can get into heaven because ultimately you'll win out. Say, hey, we're in a shitty situation. We just need to deal with it until things change. At least be honest. Don't fucking pretend like being passive is, like, even in the face of a time when you probably should fight back. That's not always necessarily 100% of the time a moral message, I would argue. There are times when the morally correct thing to do is to push back against oppressors. The Bible even knows this. I mean, look at Egypt, look at Exodus, look at,
And for the record, he says, I'm not going to change any of the laws, and he's changing very specific ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could understand why the Pharisees would be very upset about this.
Yeah.
Moving on. Love for enemies. You have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. He causes his sun to rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the righteous and unrighteous. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Do not even pagans do that? Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. This demands you respect immigrants.
Yep.
Just tossing that out there. To be fair, a bunch of eyeless and handless people would be respecting immigrants if they followed these actual laws, but who am I but a man? I'm just saying, if you're a Christian and you vote Republican, you're an idiot.
You're at least not a Christian.
Yeah, you gotta pick one at this point. I'm not even saying the Democrats are Christian. I'm just saying, like, one is more close to what you believe in right now. If that changes, I'll let you know. I just think maybe a little consistency is all I ask for. A modicum of consistency.
What about their bootstraps, though? Don't they have bootstraps they can pull themselves up
We're
by?
about to talk about giving to the needy. No, they don't have bootstraps.
Bootstraps.
What even are those used for? To pull the boots on?
Yeah.
I've never seen a bootstrap in real life.
Oh.
Have you seen a bootstrap?
No.
Someone find me a bootstrap.
Also, it's impossible to pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
You pull your shoe on with your bootstraps,
You
not
can't-
the rest of you.
You can't. That's the meaning of that term is actually you cannot do that.
Right.
That's the point.
Yep.
Ah!
Personal responsibility is the least good argument I've ever heard as far as poor people are concerned.
Yep. It implies that the only reason anyone is ever poor is because of laziness. It's absurd. It's fucking retarded.
I'm working 60-hour weeks with 2 jobs as a single mother. I'm lazy because I'm poor. Does that make sense to you? Me either. Giving to the needy. Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. Talked about this. It contradicts letting your light shine.
Yep.
So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets to be honored by others. I agree with this sometimes. It depends on the context. Like, I think celebrating a charity to give it visibility is good, but when you're celebrating you giving to charity to give yourself visibility, that comes across as hypocritical and kind of shitty. So yeah, a really good example of how to do this correctly is H-Bomb's recent stream that he did for mermaids, helping trans youth in the UK. It was a dope-ass stream, and I love you, Harris!
They raised like $350,000.
Yeah,
or something.
340,000 or something like that. That's
Crazy.
nuts. I was on there. I gave 10 of my dollars. I would have given more had they not just crushed their goal. Truly I tell you, they have received their reward in full, but when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you.
I really don't like. I hate that last line. It's almost a good message, like go out there and help people, but don't do it for the praise. But you're
do
still
it for the praise.
But do it for the praise from God. No, do not. I mean, if you're doing good things, do good things for whatever reason you're doing them. But you should not be doing good things because you expect some sort of reward at the end of your life. If that's why you were doing good things, what are you doing? Why? Who are you? What are your opinions on things that's a valid thought in your head? I'm so confused. You should do good things for people because it's nice, because it helps others, because you have empathy like a human being. Ugh.
So that's the first part of Sermon on the Mount. The next part will be next time. And then we'll end that, and then we'll move on to other shit. You know, sometimes people say, like, Jesus was probably an okay guy. I think I'm guilty of it. The more I read it, the less I believe that.
I think it's
I think he's a good guy relative to the Pharisees.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah. That's it. And not relative to all the people that lived during that time. Literally just, like, the theocracy that runs that part of Judea underneath the Roman actual running.
Sure.
So, that's it. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you ought to do that and get more of your Atheist Bible study, because I know you want it.
You can always send stuff to our P.O. Box. Just got renewed, so it's all good.
Oh, you did it.
Yay.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, send us things, and we'll open them. Yeah, that's
we
our
have some
P.O.
stuff.
Box.
I have corn soda sitting in there.
Okay, I have stuff in my car that I picked up.
Oh, nice. Was there corn soda?
I don't know. If it is, it's in my car and might be frozen and might have just exploded while we've been sitting here recording this.
Did you get it today?
Yes.
There's corn soda in there. It won't explode so far. It's just above just below freezing in your cars. You're good. And it's inside
We'll
boxes.
Remind me to bring
the
that
freezing
in.
point of soda is not freezing of water. It's a little lower than that.
Soda's mostly water.
Right, mostly.
Okay.
Anyway.
Did we say Patreon?
Patreon.
Did we say Twitter stuff?
Twitter.
Papa Bird Jake Hugo Reloaded.
You can also, if you want to see me drink the corn soda, you can go to twitch.tv/actualjake, where I often open up the Discord to people that wish to debate me, and I have yet to be defeated. Also, we do a lot of fun stuff like watch shitty videos from your favorite shitlords around the internet, and we yell at them. Yep, it's fun. Also, Sargon says he might debate me at some point.
Oh, God.
Well, every single time I talk to him on Twitter, he gets ratioed to fucking hell, so not real scared. Not real concerned.
I wouldn't be concerned either. I've heard him talk. My point is, like...
Yeah. So if you wanna be aware of when that happens, you gotta go there and follow it totally free, and you'll get notifications whenever I go live. It's really fun. Seriously, you should do that. Hugo's been on. I was in a wedding dress.
Let me double check. Is this Twitter still suspended? He got
No, it was there today.
Fuck! Okay. He got suspended for a little bit for transphobic comments.
Well, that's what happens, man.
Fucking idiot.
Anyway.
If I just say things that are... I know this isn't even close. Bear with me. Bear with me. If I just say things that are offensive, people will pay attention to me, right?
I feel like you're the chimney sweep from...
Bert. Does this make me a compelling person? Is this a fucking personality?
Wow,
no!
That is so many different accents in there.
I feel like that's his internal monologue.
Little mank. Fucking. Anyway, so I love you deeply, and we shall return. What are we doing next week? Loving the Bad Man!
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you guys seen Elon Musk's mom?
God.
She looks like a supervillain. Look at her.
Why can't we just show her on posts?
It looks like she's about to fight Catwoman.
We literally edit these.
It looks like she's about to fight Catwoman with her genetically enhanced makeup.
She looks like evil Julie Andrews.
That was a better joke than my Halle Berry's Catwoman joke that one person got.
Benjamin Bratt. I remember you. How come I can recall Benjamin Bratt, but not, like, other stuff? All the time. My recall is broken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, that's enough. Can we end?
Yeah, sure.
It's over.